Hey guys, what's going on? Today's project on this 2015 BMW X5 35D is to do a brake fluid flush. How do I know it needs a brake fluid flush? Well, the vehicle told me. So I jump in the vehicle here and I hit the start button to activate the system, and you can see in the center here that it says service due since February of 2025. I'll jump over to the main screen on the vehicle and go to the main menu. Go to vehicle info, vehicle status, and then service required. And you can see the warning symbol here that brake fluid service is required. Click on that. It tells me brake fluid service is overdue to make an appointment with the service center. Of course, we're not going to do that. We're going to do the job ourselves and save ourselves hundreds of dollars. You don't need much in the way of tools to complete the job. You need an 11mm wrench to bleed the brakes at each of the wheels. I have this Motive Products power bleeder, which allows me to bleed the brake system by myself. If you don't have that, you can certainly do the job, but you need a second set of hands available to pump the brakes when you're bleeding the brakes at each of the wheels. Also, obviously, you're going to need brake fluid to flush out the system. I've chosen Liquimoly SL6.4 for the job, and shop towels on hand when I make a mess. First thing you want to do is get the vehicle up on jack stands so you have room to work. I've driven the vehicle up on ramps on the front. I've jacked it up under the rear differential, and have jack stands under the jacking points on the side of the vehicle for safety. To make it a little easier, you could jack it up all 4 points and remove the wheels. That'll just give you a little better access to the bleed screws. So let's get underway. The brake fluid reservoir is hiding under the shrouds, so we'll need to remove that. Pretty simple to do that. Just pop these plastic pins out here on this side and the other side, and then there's a clip here in the middle. So with the cover off, we have access to the brake fluid reservoir. So in my case, because I have the Motive power bleeder, I'll screw the power bleeder on, pressurize the tank with some brake fluid in up to about 15 pounds, and then start bleeding the brakes. My bleed catch bottle is 500 milliliters, so if I fill 2 of these in the bleed process, that should pretty much flush out the entire system. If you don't have the power bleeder, then you're going to need your assistant to be in the vehicle to pump the brakes while you're bleeding at each of the wheels, and then you'll need to continually fill the reservoir until you've bled out enough to flush the system. Okay, I've got the power bleeder connected, and pressure's up to about 16 pounds, looks like. So I'm at the passenger side rear wheel. I've got my bleed bottle with the hose connected to the bleed screw up here. Again, this is an 11mm wrench, so I simply loosen that screw and allow the old brake fluid to bleed off into the bottle. If you don't have the power bleeder, this is when you use your assistant to pump up pressure on the brakes, hold their foot on the pedal as you release the bleed screw. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. I'll just repeat this procedure from this wheel to the driver's side rear. Then we'll go over to the front side, front passenger side, and then finally to the driver's side front. Bled the brakes at all 4 wheels. Again, if you didn't have the power bleeder, you'd be back and forth filling up the reservoir as your partner was pumping up the brakes while you were bleeding. So now that we've bled the system, we're going to reset the service reminder on the iDrive system. Once you've completed the brake fluid service on your vehicle and you want to reset the service reminder that has appeared on the system, you hit the start-stop button to turn the system on. You want to go over here below the fuel gauge, press and hold this button for 5 seconds. And you'll see where the odometer is. It's going to pop up and say brake fluid. And you could scroll through this if you want to reset engine oil, brake pads, rear brake pads, vehicle check, and then back to brake fluid. So now I'm going to press and hold again for 5 seconds. It's asking me to reset. I'm going to press again, hold it for 5 seconds, and reset is in progress. Once that's complete, you can see over here on vehicle status, I go to service reminder, service required, and now it says brake fluid is okay. With that service reminder reset, we need to reinstall these shrouds along the top of the firewall. Don't forget there's these 2 push pins to retain them here on this side and one on the other side at the same position. And that completes the task of brake fluid flush on this 2015 BMW X5, the F15 body style. And cheers, thanks for watching.